Hi everyone, welcome to episode 11. My guests today are Professor Marc Ste-Marie and Bryan Viera. We're talking BJJ Politics.
It's time to high five and fist bump. A jiu-jitsu podcast for the everyday grappler. Let's talk subs. Let's talk positions. Let's talk dominating the mats. Welcome to the Let's Talk Jiu-Jitsu podcast with Raymond Terrence.
My guests today are two jiu-jitsu practitioners, one being Marc Ste-Marie, Professor Marc Ste-Marie to be more specific, who is episode 001 on the podcast. And I also have Mr. Bryan Viera, BJJ Purple Belt at Brazilian Top Team Canada. And today we are going to talk about jiu-jitsu politics. Welcome, guys.
How you doing, man?
Good. And they both said welcome at the exact same time. This is going to be a great podcast. Everyone's going to talk at the same time. So maybe just do a little recap, Marc, and just tell people what you're about and what you've been doing in jiu-jitsu and all that fun stuff.
Okay, well, I don't know. I've been involved. I started in Montreal before it was called jiu-jitsu. We used to call it grappling, submission grappling. We didn't have a teacher, so we winged it. We used videotapes. I mean, we weren't bad for people without formal instructors and stuff like that. So, no, I mean, you know what? We got good and stuff like that. Well, good for guys who train like that. And life got in the way, kids and everything. And I got 3 kids. And, so then in 2000 I'd stop around 2001, 2009, I started, or 2010, whatever. It's the Scotch speaking, not me. Anyway, so we wind up in at TKO on Brunswick Boulevard, and there was Lee Villeneuve there. Hi, Lee. And he had a program there under the umbrella of BTT, and I started again. It was scary, but had a blast. And, like I said, I think on episode 001, if you would have asked me back then if I would be a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I would have burst out laughing. Sure, guys are out of your fucking minds. But looks like, you know what? I stuck around. I showed up, and here it is. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Like it's fun. I enjoy the contact with the younger people and stuff like that. And that doesn't sound good. I enjoy. Sorry.
What kind of contact with the
I
younger
enjoy
people, Marc?
interacting with younger people and having a good time and stuff like that. I think it's an individual sport, but I feel it's also a team sport. Like we're teammates trying to make each other better. And I just like the culture, period.
Nice. What about you, Bryan?
Well, as you know, my son Jonathan is training also with us, and he's been in it longer than I have. So it all started with him 6 years ago, I guess now, about that, 2012, 2013. My cousin, who's also named Brian De Lima, is a brown belt at Gracie Barra, trained under Bruno and also in the West Island, I think. And he came over one day for something, and I hadn't seen him in a while, and he was talking about it. And I said, man, I wish there was a place in the West Island I can go. And he said, well, there is. He says, there's a guy named Fred, and I think he's got Lee. And he goes, there's a guy named Marc there, and he named you too, Marc. And Marc's like, I don't know this fucking guy.
I know Brian. I know them.
Yeah. So he, back then I think he was a blue belt or whatever, and he said you should go see those guys, because they're the closest ones, because GB in the West Island wasn't there yet, obviously. So I said, oh, wow, great. So, and Jonathan was just finishing a 6-month kind of subscription at JKS, doing Streetwise. And so when he finished that, he didn't really like it. So he said it was just kind of slow and boring, whatever. And I don't think he was challenged enough or whatever, art they were doing there. Mm-hmm. So I said, you want to try the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu thing? And he's like, yeah. So he was 15 at the time, and 150, 160 pounds. And day one, well, first Marc sold us BTT. We met Marc at the old tennis club, and he sold it to us. It shows that he was a salesman in his life. Man, fuck, we just loved the idea as soon as we spoke to Marc. So we signed up Jonathan, and the first day Jonathan was like, oh my God, I love it. He was like, I love it. And it looked like he'd been run over by a truck. He was just so, such a great workout and everything. So we were sold right away. So Jonathan did it for 2 years, and I watched almost every class I could get to with him. And then eventually I bit the bullet and stopped being a little bitch and said, I'm going to do it. Look how old I am. And
How long was Jonathan doing jiu-jitsu before you jumped in?
2 years. So
2 years.
yeah, he had been doing it about 2 years. That's when I started. And that was about 4 years ago now. So now I'm a purple belt. And if you would have told me I'd be a purple belt one day, I'd say, no fucking way.
Tell us about the ninja socks you used to wear.
Oh, the ninja socks, yeah.
Ninja socks. I haven't heard about ninja socks.
You haven't heard about the ninja socks?
No.
Okay, so I'm borderline, and I think I was more of a type 2 diabetic then. I've managed to reduce my weight since then and kind of reversed it, somewhat. But so little injuries on my feet they're kind of dangerous when you're on a mat full of bacteria, right? So I had to protect my feet some way, because I would get mat burn and there'd be open wounds, and you can't have that on a mat if you got type 2 diabetes. So I would wear these MMA socks that I found online.
MMA socks?
MMA socks. They were literally socks that had almost like a neoprene toe and heel kind of thing, and they had a little bit of little rubber pads on the bottom, and fill in. Everybody used to say, "Oh, you got an advantage, you got extra grip," and this and that.
This with the tap out T-shirt. No, just kidding.
I'm not that bad. I never had that, but I did it because, and I know I look kind of goofy, but I didn't care as long as I could do it. And I think that's where people start making excuses, and they can't do it because of this, because of that. And then I realized that I was always getting the mat burns in the same spot on my feet. So I eliminated the socks and just taped those 2 toes on both feet. And as you know, that's what I do every class now. I mummify my feet.
I was about to ask you if that was related to you
Absolutely.
taping your feet now. And
Always.
everything.
It's kind of a catch-22, because if I don't tape my toes, I will get a mat burn. And if I never start training without the tape, I'll never develop that hardness of the skin so that it doesn't happen. So it's kind of like, I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. Right. So I just leave it on, and I don't care. I'm not doing this for
Nobody
to
cares.
become a world-class competitor here. So I do it for fun and to make me feel a lot better, and it's gotten me healthier, and that's it. So
Nice. So today I wanted to get into jiu-jitsu politics. So we're based out of Montreal, Canada, but it doesn't really matter where you are. If you meet people, in the States or wherever, everyone says the exact same thing about jiu-jitsu politics, that it's still existent, that everyone sees it, and it's really shitty, and it'd be nice if it wasn't there. So I wouldn't mind getting into a few different points about jiu-jitsu politics, and just to get your point of view about certain things. Just because I went down to Boston to compete this past weekend, and I ran into a few Boston clubs, and we started talking, and they asked me how many students had come down, if there was any other schools from Montreal that had come down to the tournament, and I explained 10th Planet, Montreal was there, we were there, but apart from that, that was it. And then we spoke about how, we couldn't do tournaments here in Montreal, that it's illegal, which we've spoken about in past podcasts and whatnot. And then obviously it came up, well, who do you train with, and who do you train with, and you guys mingle with other schools. And I started just asking questions, knowing that this podcast was going to happen, asking if they cross-train or they go into different schools for open mats and this and that, and it was a big resounding no. And they're kind of basically in the same situation that we're in. So there's always been rivalries between academies, right? So whether it's Brazilian Top Team, Gracie Barra, Evolution, I'm gonna name 10th Planet, but they're the most laid-back people I've ever met in my life, so maybe not them. But in general, between jiu-jitsu schools, there's always rivalries. Always, it's I'm better than you. It's me versus you. So I'm kind of curious, Mark, has that always been the case when you started jiu-jitsu? Was it always us against you at tournaments? You'd give people the stank eye all the time, and
you know what? It's like as opposed. I mean, I know we might talk about politics in jiu-jitsu. But in the 80s, when I used to compete in karate, it was awful. People used to vandalize each other's cars in the parking lot. Like one of my neighbor actually was a sensei from another school. He's my neighbor. He's a nice guy. I said hi to him in a tournament, and my instructor went nuts because I said hi to him. So I think jiu-jitsu is politics, but never to the extent of other martial arts. There is politics. So. But you know what? It's like, politics, I love rivalry. Rivalries are great. It's what ups your game, what makes you better.
So you think rivalries can be a healthy thing?
Absolutely. And you know what? But it has to stay healthy, right? Like, for example, I mean, I'd love to say that BTT invented jiu-jitsu. No, like, other people do good jiu-jitsu too. I mean, it's like, I don't, it's normal. Now, we compete with each other, but I myself, when I go to a tournament, I talk to people from other school. I mean, I'm friends with people from other school. Depending, I guess, I don't know, man. It's
You might have a son-in-law from another school.
yeah. But this exactly it. I mean, he's a good kid. He trains hard. He pays his dues like the rest of us. And you know what? I appreciate his loyalty. Sure, I'd love to have the kid says, "Hey, I'm switching to BTT." But you know what? It's like it's like it's not. He's happy there. He's striving there. So good for him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like we have to understand that as a community, what will stop us from evolving is not competing and having rivalry between the school. Is when we stop behaving like adults. Right? Mm-hmm. I will cheer the BTT guys, my guys, all the time. But I got nothing but respect for the other school. Like, I have a friend, for example, that went to train with another group. Simply, the guy's got 2 kids. He works, and there's a school from the other club right next to his house. Like, I mean, at some point, the kid, the activities and stuff, and I know you guys are kids, you know what I'm talking about. It becomes a convenience thing, So what, I'm going to stop talking to him? I mean, it's like politics. Politics, what I don't like is when people stop being civil. When I think in Montreal, in order to get better, you need to compete against better, right? I have my going back to that open mat thing you were talking about, like going to other schools open mat. Listen, probably people will disagree with me, which is fine too. But I believe that in a specific area, if the killers get together once in a while to roll, the level goes up. People in the U.S., jiu-jitsu practitioners will travel to get harder roll against other stronger people. Not my problem. I'm not in that skill bracket, but that's the way it has to be. Rivalry is awesome. Let it be, encourage it, fuel it, but keep it healthy. That's all I gotta say. Like, when it gets stupid, when it gets petty, stupid, and stuff like that, honestly, this is where I say, you know what, I'm out of here.
Right. Have you ever experienced anything in that?
Well, I was just going to add to what Marc was saying. I think it goes back to tribalism, right? It's human nature that everybody wants to be part of a team of some sort. And I think, thousands, hundreds of thousands of years ago, or, thousands of years ago anyways, in the beginning of time, they were teaming up to do something, whether it was by village, right, or by whatever, by group, by family name. And, that eventually, even in when, Japan and China were at it all the time. And, the Chinese had their Kung Fu schools and they would compete against each other. And it was no joke, right? It was vicious. So I think then you look at the consequence or the result. What was the goal, the end game? Today, the end game is very different now. It's not about survival. It's not about eating or having food the next day or winning a territory or turf or something. It's about the kids at school and everything. And that's the tribalism now. It's a little different. It's about, you're a Mac guy, I'm a PC guy, you're a GB guy, we're a BTT guy, But like Marc said, as long as you keep it civil, it's still very healthy for competition, and it's important.
And it's funny because I was talking to Professor Fred about not the importance behind having a school gi, but the reasoning why schools have specific gis with their logos on it. Mm-hmm. So there are still BJJ schools out there, obviously, that do not have club gis, right? So you can show up in a pink gi and you're good to go. Or maybe they'll limit it to black gis, white gis, blue gis, but it doesn't matter what brand. You don't have to have the logo of the school or anything like that. Here in Montreal, I think there are a few schools that do that, but I would say the bigger ones have a school gi. So BTT, we're forced and encouraged to wear BTT gis. Gracie Barra is the same thing. They wear their GB gis and so on. So for what I was talking with Fred was talking about a parent who was saying, I don't understand why I need to pay money for a BTT gi if I can just go buy one for like a third of the price, right? So yes, club gis are expensive. It doesn't matter where you guard, they are expensive. What we were getting at is that what I was telling Fred too, I was like, well, I wouldn't worry about it. And it's similar to like a sports club.
We're a team.
Yeah, we're a team. So if you join a soccer team,
Right.
so you're all going to wear the same jersey, right? So it's the same thing in
Can't go ask
jiu-jitsu.
mom to knit me a shirt for the soccer team.
There you go. So everyone wears the same gi, right? So there's that camaraderie that's there too, because we're all the same club, we're all training together and whatnot. So we were going along those lines and talking about that in this set of parents that were definitely against getting it. And so I told him, I said, a way to explain it is exactly that, is compared to a sports team, that we are a club. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that we're better than someone else just because, we're all wearing the same gi. You know what I mean? Yeah. Getting at our point about rivalries between clubs. I would say that from my experience when it comes to rivalries, it used to be worse, I think, than it is now. I think it's gotten a lot better. And when I say recently, in just the past few years, because before it was definitely us against them. It was always like that. We'd go to tournaments and it was, don't look at them, concentrate on what you're there for, and like it's us against them. And even when we weren't in competition and we were in class, it was the same thing. Right. It was, no, they're the enemy. They're not people that you should socialize with and this and that. And if you did, you were like the black sheep, basically, saying, why are you talking to the guy that trains at TriStar or the guy that trains at Evolution? No, you're this club type of thing. I think it's changed. I think there's a wave of change that's coming. I think maybe with social media and things being more in people's faces, I think there's more connections that are being made. Whereas before, everyone was in their little cubby hole. They went and did some jiu-jitsu. They went home and they didn't really see anybody else apart from competition, right?
I also think the kids program has a lot to do with that. Because I think when jiu-jitsu was more in its beginning stages, Mark, maybe you can confirm, there probably wasn't nearly as many children. There was no kids program, right? Now the kids program are starting to become a lot bigger. Fred's got, you guys got like 20, 25 kids sometimes.
More than that.
No, I mean at one time.
Yeah.
Like there's probably 40 kids in the program or whatever. But so the kids, they're certainly not going to start, promoting that hard-headed rivalry, even though we think it's healthy, but for the kids, it might not be as healthy, right? Or you do it on another kind of level, like on a friendlier level or whatever. So that maybe that kind of dilutes that rivalry a little bit.
Yeah, but like I said, like for me, like terms rivalry, there's war, there's like. Rivalry's fun. Like, it's like I used to play some other sport and off season, we'd go out partying with players from another team. We always razzed each other, but it wasn't good fun, Well, when the tournament starts or the event starts, we try to kill each other, but that's normal. I respect that, Sure. And don't forget, we come jiu-jitsu not so long ago, maybe not when I'm not that old, but it was about going 5-6 guys crashing into somebody else's school and starting a fight with them. I mean, I think you know what? Jiu-jitsu, it's like our sport. It evolves, right? The game itself has evolved technically, but it's also evolved politically a bit. Like there's no way you would have seen, let's say, two jiu-jitsu school, do like, for example, the other day I'm talking to a friend of mine from Hull area, right? We're just having fun talking. I'm talking to another friend of mine who teaches in Ottawa, not under a BTT banner, and having a fun chit chat with them and stuff like that. This would never happen. So I think just like our sport, we're evolving. We got to make sure though that when we teach the kids class, we got to teach them the values that will actually keep this thing evolving in a positive fashion. Like not that nasty stuff. Tribalism. Everybody. Why do kids join street gangs? They wear the color, they belong and stuff. The gang's looking out for them. We're a politically correct street gang. We come in and it's positive. The kids, they tell us that grades are going up in school. They learn how to lose, very important, which doesn't exist now with those fucking participation medal and woo, everybody gets a fucking ribbon. It's where your kid knows how. Like I saw, I was really proud of Bryan's son.
I was just gonna say, Julie.
He got hurt. I mean, the kid gets hurt, cries, and he goes right back in. You know what I mean? It's like this is big. Like we had another kid, which was crying, did not want to do it. He's sobbing.
But see, Mark, that's okay that he reacts that way initially. But the next thing that's super important is the reaction of the parent afterwards.
That's right.
What does the parent say? Oh, you want to stop? That's okay. You don't have to continue.
Right.
That's the easy thing to do.
Did you hear? I heard on the news, it was either this morning or yesterday, that the Quebec government, so the province that we're in for people that are listening outside of Canada that don't know what Quebec is, which is okay because I can't name every state in the United States anyway.
That's right.
So they were saying that in our province that the government is looking to impose rules for parents in sports organizations.
Force them to do sports?
No. So there, you know how there's like a code of conduct. You know how there's a code of conduct for athletes. Yeah. So if you we'll just say you put your kid in soccer.
Right.
Julia went into soccer. So there's sportsmanship. You got to make sure he doesn't curse at the refs. That there's a level of respect and this and that. But the people who actually get out of control are the parents that are sitting in the stands, right?
Absolutely.
So the government is looking to put sanctions and rules in place for the parents sitting on the bench.
Wow.
To make them accountable for things that they say and the gestures that they make during sporting events.
But you know what, Ray?
I heard this on the radio yesterday.
You just said it yourself. Kids are not political.
Yeah.
We talk about rivalry. What's going to make the rivalry healthy or not is the way the parent deals with it. When the parent says, the kid is competing. Like we had a kid once, I started the tournament. Now one of our kids, not related to people who were coaching, but the kid took another kid down. The kid got hurt. The kid who hurt the kid was crying more than the kid that was actually hurt because he hurt him. You know, so it's a fighting sport, and you can see the kid has the concern, the empathy. You know, empathize for his opponent. It's like the parents will destroy what will make those rivalries evolve and be positive and be beneficial for everybody. Is the way the parents deal with that. When the parent says you got to kill that BTT guy, you got to BTT's a bunch of wankers. Kids don't learn that on their own. It's taught. Mm-hmm. So a lot of time, like I've coached another sport, I told the parents, go back up in the stands and shut the fuck up. Mm-hmm. Right? Because the parents will spoil it for the kids. All our kids, we had a tournament. Because I know we're talking about politics and stuff, but there's values to be ingrained when they're young so that when they become adult and they're in there, they stand, I lost, I'm going to lose like a man, I'm going to win like a man, or a woman, whatever, or gender fluid, or whatever.
Don't sway, Mark, don't sway.
Sorry, I'm going on a tangent.
You're about to walk through a landmine.
But I mean, but like, seriously. You know what? These things acquired strength. It's done with the parents. So you want as an instructor, you know, if you want those rivalries, sure, I want us to beat the JB guy. They want to beat us. I respect that. We want to beat 10 Planet guys. They want to beat us and stuff. But the people that will keep that healthy is the people who deal with the next generation, which was instructors. Right? Guys like me, when we were the kids, you have to understand. No, you go, you shake hands with the other coach. You lost, encourage him, wish him luck for the next match. I mean, this is not, this is our responsibility so that later on, nobody gets embroiled like the shit I saw in the 80s at karate tournament was just brutal. But it was not the kids that generated that. It was parents and instructor generated. So bad politics will come from bad instructor. Like there's a big organization in jiu-jitsu right now which have franchise and stuff like that. More and more, they have code of conducts for the instructors. And it's sad that we have to come to formalize this because to me it's fucking common sense. You know, it's like, so sure. I mean, you know what? When one of my kids loses to a kid from another school, my first gut reaction, because I'm a product of the 70s and the 80s. God damn it. But I don't say it. Mm-hmm. I smile and stuff and I say, sure, I would have loved to see the kid win. So go shake hands, say, best of luck in the next match and stuff. It's my responsibility. It's on me. So people, martial art instructors, maybe less in jiu-jitsu, but in other martial arts, they see the instructor as something that's special, unique and stuff like that, And you know what? It's up to these guys because whether you're not, you have to lead by example. So you lose like a man if you're competing as an instructor. Win like a man. be respectful, and it's going to trickle down. But if you go out on social media and you say, well, whoa, they copied it, and you start, this will trickle. I mean, I had a lot of respect for Marcelo Garcia. Remember what he did when he kicked out 2 of his top guys? Because they were just talking shit on social media. I mean, if I was a fan of him already, I became more of a fan of him because he took 2 great fighters. He says, you know what, you guys need to grow up. You know, and
that just happened too on Facebook. I don't know if you guys saw 2 days ago, but there was a TriStar BJJ black belt and a MMA fighter who got into it on Facebook. And
sorry, I shouldn't be laughing.
Yes,
it got really just sad. Like you start getting to the, like, it started funny and then it's humorous. You're like, oh, they're going back and forth and they're trashing each other and this and that. But then you start getting to the end and you're like, you know, this guy's a black belt in Jitsu.
You should rise above that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, and I have to say that Professor Fred said it really well. He's like, do you know why there's no drama in my school? It's because I shelter you guys from it.
That's right.
I do everything that I can to keep you guys away from all the stuff that's going on outside that's negative. So that's why you guys don't feel the full blunt force of it. And I thought that was really interesting because it was the first time I hear that. And there's just so much he can do. But I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that comes his way that he just doesn't say anything about because he's concentrating on his students' success and on jiu-jitsu. And he doesn't want us to think about anything else, right? But seeing those 2 guys get in,
oh my God,
was just
it was a spiral down the toilet.
It was, it was not fun. Let's move on to the next topic because we've gone 30 minutes on the first one. So this might be an 8-hour podcast.
Is that breakfast ready?
I'll have breakfast ready. A nice keto breakfast.
That's right.
Okay. Switching teams and academies.
Oh.
I want to bring it up because I did switch teams and academies. And I want to throw something out there. Because I haven't brought it up on a podcast, but I think it's important to talk about it because I think a lot of people are scared to switch academies after a certain point, or when you get to a certain point, is it right or wrong? So I switched academies when I was a blue belt. So I started at GB, and I was with Professor Glenn McKenzie, and we had an amazing relationship, and he went above and beyond for me, and I was there for him, and we had a really good cooperative agreement. And then things didn't end very well. And we ended on a bad note, unfortunately. I ended up leaving GB and saying that...
And that's when you upgraded, right?
Oh, here we go.
Just kidding, Brian.
So I decided to leave GB, and it ended not great. A tournament went by. I would see him. He would see me. We wouldn't say anything, right? We would just walk by each other, and it was like one of those rivalries. It just didn't end well. I have to say that Professor Glenn, at about 2 or 3 tournaments ago, I finished my match. He was there coaching some of his students, and he saw that I had a rough match. I won. Let's not go crazy here. So I did win the match, but my arms were dead. Okay, he came up through the crowd, came to see me, told me to put my arms on his shoulders, and started massaging my arms to get the lactic acid out. And I have to say that, like, props to him because I wasn't expecting that. Like, I assumed that we were just going to stay, you know, like acquaintances, that I knew him, he knew me, and that was it because it didn't end very well. And I switched to another club. But the fact that he went that extra mile and he came to see me and he said, good match, Ray, keep up the good work. I saw your match and this and that. I thought that was super cool. I thought that was really nice. Now, to move on to switching teams and rivalries, I'd like to get your opinion on, is it okay? Is there a point in time that you get to a certain belt and you should not?
You know what? I think it's a very gray area. It's not switching team or not is why you're switching. You know what? It's like, I know I have a friend from out of town. He switched team because the commute got to be terrible for him. And he got to a point, it's either this or I quit jiu-jitsu.
I think that's the easiest decision, right? It's too far. I can't do it anymore.
I mean, let's face it, okay? Because I know some of our guys, and I'm sure they're like that at GB, at 10 Planet. Guys like Gumby will go and he's from Terrebonne. He'll go train downtown to have some rolls with the killers, then come to the West Island. Wait till he has 3 kids, see how that goes. right? And so a lot of us are students. There's stuff like that. So it could be just logistic. So you can have the logistic changing team, which I have no problem with. Look, look. Charles moved to Arizona, right?
Well, he came from Arizona first to us.
Yeah.
And now he's back
So
again
so what if there's, let's say there's no BTT school down there? Well, he's gonna stop doing jiu-jitsu? Right. So I mean, it depends why you switch team. A lot of times, also, it's like
scheduling too. Sometimes
scheduling can be horrendous. Those are all reasons that I have no problem. Like I just said earlier, like one of my best friend, he's training now in a JB school, but it's next to his house. He's got 2 kids. They're doing soccer. They're doing this. They're doing that. And in the past, his in-laws lived on the West Town. So when he visited his in-laws, he came and he did jiu-jitsu with us. In-laws have moved close to his house down there. So what? He's gonna go to catch the 5 o'clock kids class or 5:45 kids class. Drive from downtown to come to the West Island at rush hour to go back after.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It's not gonna happen, man. So he's got a school right next to his house. So props. The kids are still. I saw him at the tournament, stuff like that. It was great to see him.
And it's not every school that has classes morning, lunch, after work, evening, weekends. I mean, there's a lot of schools that are Tuesday, Thursday night, and Saturday morning open mat. That is it.
Now,
and they don't offer like any other martial art.
And I think there are a lot of students that take that for granted. And I'm not saying specific to us. I'm saying that schools that offer a lot of classes, I think if they kind of went outside their realm and be like, man, look at all these other schools. I mean, these students only get to train twice a week.
That's right.
I can go 7 days a week. I could train 4 times a day if I want to. And I honestly think that we take that for granted.
For sure. Like with the one quit that bothers me, like if that's a legit reason to change school. What bothers me sometimes and is when you see somebody who's starting to get good and suddenly the teacher tells him something he doesn't want to hear about himself.
So it's an ego thing.
Yeah. So then suddenly he knows more than his teacher. And stuff like that. But you know what? If he leaves, then good fucking riddance, really. People like that, do you want them anyway? But I mean, it's like you can, if you quit for something like this, I find that c'est pas folle, we say in French. It's not, I'm not impressed, you know?
Impressive, yeah.
That's right. So a lot of times, and what people don't understand is that coaching, a good coach, does not tell the athlete what he wants to hear. He tells him what he needs to hear. And a lot of time it might, if you're competing, listen, it's not my case. I don't compete at, I don't have an aspiration of, like a younger guy or like my daughter, for example. But a lot of time, a coach has to get in your face and tell you something that it needs to be said. And if you're not mature enough to be able to process this and use it, from the guy who took you to the dance right up until the guy who got you hit that level, tells you something you don't want to hear to take you to the next level, and suddenly you have a problem with it, you leave to go somewhere that want to have you. They'll tell you yes because they just want you to have you. I mean, I don't say you're a bitch. But it's like, listen, each his own. Myself, I'd rather worry on the people that are there. Like, if you want to quit, dude, but I'm not going to tell you bullshit because you need to hear bullshit. You know what I mean?
Basically just to get your money every month too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm assuming there's a lot of schools that are a little smaller where, the instructor's like, I have to say sweet things in this guy's ear to keep him, because if I don't, I mean, he's going to bail, and that's one less membership for me. But I guess people that are schools that are academies that are a little bigger don't have that problem. They're like, well, there is riffraff, and if they decide and they stick around for 2 years, 3 years, and they just decide to bail, I mean, that's their decision. I'll move on to the people that actually want to be here. Yeah. But do you think that there's a point where of no return? Like, do you think, example, a brown belt, right, who's been at the same academy for
8 years or whatever.
6 years, 7 years, it's not it's too far, there's not enough classes, I'm not getting what I need. Do you think he should stick it out?
Well, I think it goes back to what Marc was saying about what's the reason for changing. If he just says, I'm not getting what I need, well, he's an idiot, because he should have noticed that 2 belts ago.
Well, first of all,
at a brown belt, he's not getting what he needs.
But here's the deal. Yeah. it's like you might say, I'm not getting what I need. Okay, that's fine. But a good instructor, for example, like another sport that I've coached, I said, I can take you to this level. And if the guy is that good, and you as a coach should identify that he stagnates, and either you might say, listen, now I need you to go train at that place, right? Because let's put it this way. If you want to perform at Cascao's level, or Coach Cascao's level, at some point, I mean, I love my roles with him. I appreciate, for me, it's like a fantasy dream, like I'm rolling with one of the top guys on this planet, but he needs the roles to go there. That means he will have to travel at some point. Even in our own history, if I recall, I mean, Fabio's going to kill me, I might misquote this, but I know that, for example, some people started with BTT and they were moved on to other school that focused more on the gi and less on MMA or something like this. Somebody told me a story. I mean, I know I'm killing it right now. Sorry, but so as a coach, if the person, as a coach, it's two ways. If you feel you cannot give the guy what he needs to take him to the next level,
You should feed him to somebody else.
You should either feed him or say, listen, go train there. I called the guy. You're welcome. You have to let go also sometimes, but a lot of time people do it for petty reason, like it's, I've seen it. And as a coach, you should never cave into a power play. Somebody says, well, if you don't, I'm going to go train. Hey, anytime you want, bro.
Right.
You can't start caving to that. You're going to lose the respect of your other students and stuff. So, I mean, it's like, it's a big gray thing, like it's depends, Wait, first of all, always remember, when there's two stories, you talk to a guy and his instructor, there's three versions. There's the student's version, the instructor's version, and there's the truth in the middle somewhere. This is how it works. So, I mean, it's like, so me, when people try to get me involved in those conversations, well, he told me this, I nod. And then when the other guy says, well, he said this, I nod. It's like, right? I don't know.
Sometimes even there's stories I've heard in the past where even like political views will get involved and someone will leave a school. Don't choke, Mark. I'm not mentioning any names, but let's just say hypothetical scenario, this could happen, right? Somebody has a political view different than another one, and that person decides to leave. It's ridiculous. Like, just leave that outside, right? I think the word dojo itself means like a place with no ego or something like that. So in other words, leave your ego, leave your thoughts, leave your opinions and stuff at the door, and just go and do what you're there for.
Do you know what? There's another reason why people switch academies. So I did quite a bit of research on a lot of these topics beforehand. Do you know what the number one reason is for people switching schools, leaving schools and going to another club?
No idea.
Two people dating in the same academy.
Oh my God.
I swear to God. Go online and it's literally couple broke up. I had to go somewhere else.
Hey, Brian and I started to date, and we never have a problem.
No problem. Yeah, you guys are okay. But isn't that crazy? Considering that, I don't know how it is elsewhere, but
Where is this statistic from?
So I looked on online forums. I looked at articles. I looked at Reddit, and it's plastered all over the place. If you put in BJJ drama or politics or this and that, and it's resounding that it's people dating, splitting up, and someone having to go somewhere else.
None of those stories are from BTT.
No, not at all. But
Fuck those bitches.
But if you actually take a look, take a look at how many women are doing jiu-jitsu. Yes, it's getting better. There are more women going into jiu-jitsu. But beforehand, even a few years ago, there was next to no women doing jiu-jitsu. So if one girl came into the club, dear Lord, poor girl, man, because she had like 50 guys are like, man, there's a girl who does jiu-jitsu. I just want to...
Heaven!
Yeah, I would totally marry her right now, right?
When a girl does jiu-jitsu, it makes her like at least 2 points hotter on the 10 scale, right?
But you say, seriously, because Tennis Magazine came out and said that the leading cause of divorce was mixed double tennis. When they play with their spouse together on the same team, you could have gotten that ball.
It's a fucking huge metaphor for marriage in itself.
That's right. Oh yeah. But I can see that. It's like me. I'm just saying, like, what's fun also anyway in our program is that we're exposed to different instructors. different. And there's enough schedules, enough classes. So if you, because I mean, and this is no disrespect toward an instructor, but we all learn our own individual ways. And what happens is that sometimes you connect more with one. It doesn't mean the other one's not good. Like, I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Some people, I'm sure, get less from my teaching than if they go somewhere else. Some people get more from my teaching than when they go somewhere else.
Those people are fucking crazy.
Well, yeah.
No, but it's like,
in response to that, Mark,
there's
I think
compatibility.
we're really lucky at our school
that we have so
Weston,
many
BTT,
instructors.
that we have so many, and they're diverse.
They're all different. There's not a single one that's the same.
Now I get so much out of going to Cascal's class, which I've only started doing more often just recently.
Right.
John too, same thing. He's making it a thing now. He has to go to Cascal's class. Like at least 2 of them have to be Cascal's class, and then one with Fred or Phil or you or whatever. Your class is in the morning. I try to get to every once in a while, and I always get something out of it whenever I go. Go to Cascal's class. I always get something out of it. You know, like sore quads. You know, where I can't walk up the stairs the next day. And then Fred's class again, a totally different dynamic where the way he explains things and it's a little more zen, and just it's such a different approach, and it's just so great for a guy like in my position, looking at all the options of instructors we have and all the variety of the classes and the different
everybody has
choices.
a specialty.
Yeah, I can't go this time. Well, you know what? I can go at this time, or actually I can't go. I'll go a little bit later. I can go to the night class that day or whatever. We have so many options. So
I've told people asking me a question. So listen, this is my answer, but clear it with that instructor, because he specializes in that. So if whatever he tells you, supersede what I say, because that's his game.
And if you only have one instructor, right, and you don't have, like, you're in a small town, and I can give an example of the weekend where I ran into a BTT affiliate, and if I'm not mistaken, the highest ranking belt there was a purple belt, but they were reporting to the black belt that actually ran BTT Boston, but they were like a small affiliate on the side that was 45 minutes away, and there was maybe 10 or 12 students there. If you only have one instructor and you're questioning it, or you're not getting enough out of it, I mean, go see your instructor. Say something. Verbalize it. You need to say... Explain yourself. Say, hey, like, I'm trying to work on this, and I know that we're a small group, and you're trying to cater to everybody, and we don't have that many classes, but do you think maybe we could work one-on-one together? You know, do you have, like, maybe 20 minutes that you could spare for me, maybe after a class or before a class or something like that? Because it's not everybody that has access to as many instructors as we do.
No instructor will, I mean, no good instructor, will have a problem with a motivated student
who wants to learn more,
who comes in and say, hey, show me this. I want to get better at that. Myself, I think that's why I do it. That's, it's like some people are not motivated. They go through the motion. It's hard. I mean, I'm a human being. It starts to get motivated sometimes. But when somebody's pumped up, they can, no matter, it has nothing to do with their skill level. They're pumped up. They want to learn. I'll spend the time. I'll stick around an extra 5 minutes at the end and say, I've done it before. Let's stick around at the end. Then I'm just going to clear things up for you, clean things up. But it's like, that's why people teach. There's nothing more stimulating for an instructor than somebody who looks at you and is trying to soak up everything you say and remember it. And I remember once we had somebody who ran in the locker room to write something down, like, man, it's like, you know what? This is, coaching is not, it's not because it's more fun to coach skilled people versus unskilled people. It's fun to coach motivated people, no matter what the level is. Right? So that's right.
And talking about our variety of instructors that we have, I know other schools, you might have other instructors too. And maybe you guys can tell me more about it, but the fact that we have so many high-level instructors, right? So I think some other schools will have like purple belts, and coaches or whatever that help teach some of the classes and stuff like that. But we have a variety. You, Phil, Fred Cascal,
John
Lau, like just so many different black belts teaching the classes, and then you get their, like Marc was saying, specialties from those particular guys. Phil's classes on Thursday nights has helped me so much in fighting against a certain kind of guy, and I have a certain kind of similar body type, and then you go to John Lau's class
because you're fat.
Yeah, that's right. And John Lau's class, you get a completely different overview, and you think, well, maybe I can't do that because he's such a smaller guy. It's probably not my style, but not at all. And I learn these little things, like just
one complements the other.
One little detail. I just, oh my god,
it goes like this. Goes,
oh yeah,
click.
Yeah.
Okay, next topic. Okay. So, Mark, you were saying that you go to competitions and you socialize with other schools, right?
Yeah,
So
I don't have a problem.
And the same thing with me. You go to competitions, you meet new people in other schools. Everyone's happy. Hey, bud, you should add me on Facebook. Yeah. Hey, I just beat your ass. Add me on Facebook. Blah, blah, blah. And then everyone's friends. We see each other at different tournaments and this and that. Why do we not cross-train more in other academies?
I try to get it going, and everybody goes, "Gee, I don't know."
Yeah.
Like I saw, I bumped into Glenn at Costco, and I said, you know what? In Montreal, we should get the killers together. We should get like the guys in Montreal, especially there's no tournaments now. We gotta travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like once in a while. I said, yeah, no, it's not no referee thing. Nobody keeps score. But once in a while, I'm not adverse to have a bit of a jamboree. Everybody shows up for a big open mat. I discussed on the West Island. I talked about it with the West Island BJJ crowd and stuff like that. And I know some of them are completely receptive and others cringe. Mm-hmm. I said, he says, yeah, but things might because we'll supervise it. I said, I know you, you know me. We'll walk around. If things gets heated, we'll say, hey, if you want to come back here, they calm the fuck down here, Mm-hmm. I'm a fan. Over my years in martial art, I knew there's something called martial inbreeding. Like when you always train with the same guys all the time, and we know what we're going to do. It's good sometimes to see the unknowns. But listen, some people will travel. Like when Brianna travels, she goes to train at various schools all over the place, different brands than BTT, and it's like, I have no problem with it. I guess I can see some people are reluctant, but I think any high level guy, and I'm not one of those guys, but high level guy craves the quality role. I listen to my daughter speak. I listen to guys like Gumby and all those guys that compete, that go to the worlds and stuff. They're all looking for super high level role. And the problem is sometimes it's like, let's say you're going to compete in the featherweight and you can get a high level role, but the guys are like heavyweights. Mm-hmm. They don't play guard the same way. They don't, you need exposure to people in your own weight class as good as you are, and stuff. I don't know. It's like, for me, it's just a positive thing. I don't feel threatened by that stuff at all.
I think what's going to happen, it's going to take a professor, a school owner, to be okay with it and to start something like that. Because I honestly believe that that's the next step. And I'm talking about Montreal, us here, but I mean, it applies to anybody, anywhere. I think that's the next step, is getting the schools together to say once a month, let's all get together at this academy. And it could be an academy that rotates.
Look at 540 or in California, like Studio 540.
Everyone goes there.
Like but I think my daughter went there, and she says, like, you go there, there's people from JB, people from Matos, people from, and they go there, and she says, yeah, it was all quality roll, tons of black belt, everybody's having a good time rolling. Yeah. They all go there before the worlds to warm up, to practice, to train in the, I mean, it's like, listen, I'm fiercely loyal to my brand, to BTT, and because I think our brand is strong, like I'm sure the JB guy think their brand's strong, the 10 Planet believe in their brand. I don't think that's going to undermine, it would not undermine my belief in my school. If I would go in a studio somewhere and train with, and have a nice open mat with people. I mean, myself, I believe in my school. I believe in my program. I believe in my instructors. I don't feel threatened by if you go train in a place like this, I don't feel like,
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I'm not insecure.
I'd spoken to Fred about this a few years ago, and it was just kind of like a in passing kind of thing. But now I think it's something that I would really like to do, and I know you're going to jump all over this. What if we do, let's say in the summer, do a jiu-jitsu in the park? And we go to a park. Like, I have a park near my house, Greer Park. Yeah. It's got beautiful open grass, areas, whatever. We get some people, try to get some mats together, some old mats, throw them out there, a little, 20 by 20, whatever. And we invite people from different schools. So nobody has the home turf advantage, right? Because they're all going to feel like they have the home turf advantage if they're at their academy, right? Everybody's there, neutral ground. We get people to donate stuff like whatever, popsicles and drinks and shit. So it's more of a fun environment. So
it promotes the sport too. People will come. Yeah,
people around
come
are
and see
looking.
it.
We'll probably have to get a permit from the city. No problem.
The problem is I honestly don't think anyone will come.
Why not?
Yeah,
because I think it has to be led by a school owner.
Well, they can be involved, but that doesn't matter. That's fine. But it doesn't have to be.
I thought of a rotating
this is
system.
a BTT. Yeah, the rotating system is a good idea too, as long as the owners are all.
That's right. Like I was.
Because I like the idea of going from one school to another and say this month it's on us, next month it's on you.
That's right.
And
That's
everyone
what
rotates from school to school.
That it's going to be. We'll be walking in. Oh, I don't want to walk in by myself. Ray, let's go in together. Right, so we want to go in as a team. So right away we're coming in as a team, invading the other territory.
But
and the other, they're all going to be lined up, saying who's this coming in now. Even though it was
that
all,
doesn't happen at 540. That doesn't happen at 540.
I honestly think it depends on whose academy you're going to.
Right.
And I'm going to do a shout out now to Professor Charles McDonough at West Island Jiu-Jitsu. He opens his school to anyone who wants to come train.
Charles.
Nice.
We could show up all in BTT black gis, wearing the same sweaters, the same hats,
and one with a white gi.
and one with a white gi, looking super angry.
That's for Phil.
Yeah, showing up, and honestly, he would welcome us with open arms, and he'd be like, "This is the best day of my life."
Well, I didn't want to use his name before, but I brought this up to him. I said, "What do you think about like a rotating school open mat?" Mm-hmm. Like we go there, he goes, "I'm down." He goes, "Let me know." He goes, "Tell me, say where and when." And I said, I'm just bringing up that you rotate, and I mean all the guys, they compete with each other. They know each other. Like let's be. I just believe that would raise the level.
Yep.
And like I said, it's like I'm not.
But not just raise the level. The goal is to, and this is exactly why I do this podcast, is to get different people on from different schools to bring the jiu-jitsu community together, and that would be the point of doing these open mats, of bringing everyone together. So you come to my school, I come to your school, we train, we get to know each other. I learn, you learn. I mean, that's like the ultimate goal. The problem is that it's hard to find someone to lead the pack, and it's hard to find owners that are okay. People are scared because this is never before seen, by the way. People have never seen this. This would be a first because people don't do that. People are like, no, like I do my open mat at my school, you do your open mat at your school, and you keep your secrets. But the thing is, right now, with the internet, there are no technical secrets. Right. You can go on YouTube and you could find anything. Where in the past, I have had instructors say, no, like I'll show you this technique. Or I would even have black belts from other schools when I was at GB. There'd be black belts from other GBs that would come that wouldn't even show their signature technique because they didn't want to share their trick to everybody else.
You go to flow grappling,
and that was
you
inside.
punch in the name. If you're gonna compete, you're a guy who competes a lot. Like some of our guys, like my daughter and stuff, that compete a lot. You punch in. You look at your bracket. Punch in their name in the search bar thing there, and you're gonna see all those persons' matches at the pans, at this. You're gonna see what they're doing.
You see everything.
So I mean, it's like a fucking underhook's an underhook, and so for me, it's like that old thing that it's. I like what Vince Lombardi said once. He goes, when they ask him, "Are you preparing a special play for the Super Bowl or something like that?" He goes, "No." He goes, 1st and 10, we're going to power sweep left. So the guy says, why are you telling the world? Because if we execute, there's nothing you can do about it anyway. There's nothing nobody can do to stop this.
And you could totally relate that to jiu-jitsu too, right?
Oh, yeah.
The perfect technique is a technique that the guy knows exactly what you're going to do, but he can't stop it.
That's right. So you get your half guard, get the underhook, you get the face crunch and stuff, and Jesus just shone the light on Ray. But I mean, jiu-jitsu.
No more ice.
First of all, anybody who thinks that jiu-jitsu is a collection of secret move is out to fucking lunch.
Now, yes, because everyone has access to information.
That's right.
The past is a different story.
So for me, it's like sometimes it's like I have no problem. in interacting with other people. I think it's to everybody's benefit if you're man enough and secure enough in what you do. And for only that, it's a sign of confidence toward your students. Let's go there and learn. as opposed to let's go there and kick everybody's ass. If you start with that mentality, I mean, you know what? Then you're regressing. You're not moving forward.
Yeah. If we were less people in jiu-jitsu, it would work right away. And why I'm saying that is because with the women, it works amazing. I take Ariane Dang as the example at H2 MMA. They do an open mat on Sundays.
Yeah, I remember the podcast.
And it's just it's just women from different schools getting together and doing jiu-jitsu. It's exactly what we want to do, just on a smaller scale.
So the common link is not so much it's jiu-jitsu, but it's the women jiu-jitsu. It's the fact that
it's
women.
a gender.
So
it's
that's
a gender.
The link is
so.
that.
So we need to find something at our end. You know what I mean? There has to be a way to go about this. And I know there are instructors out there that are willing to do it. And if you are, please message me. Let's talk jiu-jitsu at gmail.com. You can send me an email or find me on Facebook. But we are going to make it happen. And on that, we're going to switch topics. We're going to move on to something else. Good.
A time restraint here.
I know, not a time restraint. It's been an hour. I've done 3 topics here. So, telling students they cannot compete at certain events due to politics. Go.
That's fucking sacrilegious.
I was gonna say
this is welcome to the fucking welcome to the 80s karate scene. Oh, is the André Gilbert gonna be there? No, then we're not going. Listen, what the fuck is this shit? Jiu-jitsu is banned in Quebec right now, temporarily. And so what are you going to do now? It's like you want... Instructors will all agree that, you know, like Fabio once said, he says, 1 competition equals 3 months of training. I mean, it's like, you know what? Go compete.
Anywhere, exactly.
Anywhere. Find a tournament, sign up, and go. Like to tell people this, when you start doing that, you cultivate what has been killing other martial arts for decades. Like, oh, we're with that federation. No, that federation. No, these guys, it's under. Dude, it's jiu-jitsu. Sign the fuck up. Go and compete. That's on. This is, for me, it's sacrilegious.
And it still happens to this day, right? So the head instructor has a falling out or doesn't agree with this person's point of view, didn't like their Facebook post. We're not doing that tournament, guys. We're not going. And you hear it all the time. Yeah. Guys, we're not doing that tournament. Who are you? I'm paying you to come do jiu-jitsu. If I decide to go in my pocket and pay money for that tournament, it has nothing to do with you.
Right.
Correct?
That's right. Absolutely. Especially if you know, whether it's, you know, adults or kids, whatever, they're going to tournaments and sometimes they're the only ones there. And, you know, or maybe one other person from their team is there. So it's not like there's a huge presence and it's going to make a huge impact. They're just doing it for themselves.
Yep.
You know, then there's other days where there's 20 guys from your school are there. You make more of an impact. Everybody wants to do good.
Like sometimes you need a tune-up tournament. Like you want to sign up for one of the big ones everybody goes to.
Well, that's exactly what I did.
So exactly.
I competed at Boston last weekend
to get ready for
Abu Dhabi.
That's
right. And I went absolutely alone. Yep. 6 hours of Boston. Stayed in a hotel. It was luxurious, by the way. It was beautiful. The bathroom, man, the tub. I put some Epsom salt in the water. Just to like shed an extra pound just to feel even better.
We're masters. I mean, that's important to us.
Rose petals floating on the water.
Rose petals, a little Daniel Steele. That Daniel Steele book. My mom used to read those all the time.
That should never happen. I mean, it's like...
What, Daniel Steele?
No. But I mean, it's like, you know what? A coach technically could not go and coach every student at every tournament. Like, say, he picks a tournament there. So, but it doesn't matter. Go.
That's right.
Go.
Challenge yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And this, you should never be, as a coach, as a school, as an organization, somebody that restrains. You should be somebody that pushes. Like any jiu-jitsu organization is about improving oneself and making people go one notch higher than they thought they should. It's about empowerment. It's about like encourage them. And yes, you want to take going to a tournament alone. I mean, for some people, it could be a very scary thing to do. I'm going there. I don't know anybody. I gotta, your coach is not gonna tell you while you're fighting at that time. You're gonna find out when your brackets and this and that.
Especially if it's your first tournament.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I mean, if I have a student who's willing to do that, I'm impressed. If I can't be there or I don't want to be there, whatever, because I'm too busy, I gotta run the schools, whatever. If I have a guy who's willing to do that, by all means, buddy, go.
Especially now that it is illegal in Quebec, right?
That's right.
Travel, I can't expect you guys to be there all the time. I mean,
it's impossible, and that's why I asked Professor Fred. I said, "Hey, Fred, like, will you go to Ottawa for Abu Dhabi?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll be there."
yeah, for Abu Dhabi.
You know, for those big
Makes
ones,
sense.
you know, like
Absolutely,
he'll
makes
be there.
sense.
And he went to SAU.
Yep.
He went to the smaller ones. So when he can free himself from his 2 academies that
Yep.
he runs, I mean, he will go, right? But students, do not expect your coach to be in your corner all the time telling you what to do. For your first one, if you want to wait, ask your coach when he could be there, fine, no problem.
Yeah.
But later on, you have to take it upon yourself to say, hey, I need to get better at jiu-jitsu. For me, to get better at jiu-jitsu is I need to challenge myself against people that I don't roll with every day, and let's see what happens.
Right.
But I don't need someone in the corner yelling at me saying, oh no, do this, oh no, his arm is here. No.
Yeah.
I'm relying 100% on my jiu-jitsu.
We can't
There's
even do
nothing
that
else
for
going
the
on.
kids. I mean, we had the kids class. I think I ran a half marathon going around like
Oh, there
this.
were so many of
Because
them.
we're-
yeah.
oh my gosh, they were like, oh,
Yeah.
he's not there. Like, we rush.
You'd have to have 20 instructors
Yeah.
alone, and it's impossible.
No, but going back, I mean, it's like going back. There's no way you shouldn't do, as an instructor, as an organization, have any policies that restricts. I would, let's say, okay, if you want to go to a tournament and wear a gi from another schools if they compete, I might have a problem with it, right? Because you're part of the team and stuff like that. But I mean, it's like there's no way I would tell anybody don't do it.
Yeah. Did Fred tell you did he mention what I tried to do? So what I did is, because we can only wear BTT gis, like most school, you have to wear a club gi.
Oh yeah, you're.
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
actually took one of my really nice gis. I spent like $200 some odd on. I unstitched the BTT patches from their gi, sewed it onto my really nice gi.
Yeah.
My mistake is when I went to school, instead of just letting it go, I was like, hey Fred, like, do you like my BTT gi? When I should have just went on the mat, you know what I mean? And he said that he would have never noticed. He saw it, he was like, yeah, Ray, that's not gonna happen. And I totally like didn't sew them on correctly, and they were crooked and this and that. Like, it wasn't great. Anyways,
Jesus.
Next topic. This is definitely for Marc. Black belts who don't roll with their students.
Yeah, well, you know what? Again, it depends on the whys. Like, I wish I could roll more with my students. I try to get as many rolls as I can, but orthopedic issues kind of take care of that. It's, you know what? There's always a way to make it happen. Like, even when I don't feel good because of my health issues, you know, like on a Sunday, I took everybody and I said, I finished the roll. Okay, come with me. Let's work on what didn't work. So I rolled with him. We drilled it live. There's, you know what? You have to find, there's always jiu-jitsu is so vast. If you're a black belt, you have enough stuff in your toolbox to find a way to roll anyway. Like, I don't mean kick your student's ass. That's not what I'm talking about. You can find a way, like sometime, depending on what's sore, I'll play a certain game, which is not my game, but I find a way to get as much as I can. Now, you get to a certain age, I'm 56, so I cannot do the white knuckle rolls like I did in the past.
Yeah, but you don't roll like a 56-year-old either.
No, but I mean, it's like I've limited my white knuckle rolls. I'm good for 2 or 3 a week, and then I do the other rolls more like flowy things. But
Right.
but in general, if you're a young professor, if you're a young coach, and people learn, you know, they need to feel the pressure, they need to feel the energy, your student need that. Especially when we talked about traveling and stuff like that. Where are they gonna get it? You know, and as a black belt, it's your responsibility when you want to prepare your blue belts, your purple belts and stuff like that. They're gonna feel how it's done. Feel the weight distribution, right? And it's your job to provide that for them. So I mean, it's like with don't roll. It's like, but some of them, which I'm not gonna name, I know, I haven't rolled in a long freaking time, and they're gonna strut around the mat and stuff like that. And I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, you know, if their students are happy, hey, and they're doing well, can't argue with results. But at some point, you know what? It's like you gotta step up. Like I step up as much as my body allows me to. And yeah, but not as often as I once did. I'm talking about serious rolls, like white knuckle rolls, I call them. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's like, honestly, your students have to feel what it is, because they're going to strive towards that. They need to feel the weight distribution. They need to feel that. I'm not talking about crushing your heads in. I'm just talking about, like the hips are well positioned. I'm handcuffed. I can't move. And then they see how it's done. It gives them a goal to strive for.
Just telling them, yeah.
Speaking as a student, looking at it from the other way, Mark,
right.
I think, like, I'm just a purple belt, but if I didn't get picked by my instructor, every once in a while, each one of them at some point, he's got to go through everybody. So I understand I would feel kind of weird. I'd be weirded out. Like, is there another way for them to measure our progress?
To evaluate, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
He can, right, to a certain extent. An instructor can evaluate your progress to a certain extent, and they talk to other instructors. But I think they need to roll with the guy to see how he's doing, right?
That's a good point.
I think
that's right. No, for sure. I think it's very hard if you don't feel, it's like, feel the energy, feel the weight distribution and stuff like that. I mean, you can see all that, but it's better. You know what? It's because you're technically, on paper, you're superior technically. You can also yourself manhandle your student in a certain scenario to make him work what needs to be work, which you won't get with a training partner. Because you see the two blue belt go at each other. It's like, all right, let's get ready to rumble.
Cockfight. Yeah.
That's right. Oh, wow! And then so
blades
that's
tied
right
to their fingers.
That's right. But maybe one of them needs to work from under or something like that, or work top, bottom, whatever, half guard, whatever. He's like, and you, because you have a little more mileage than him, you can provide him with the right role for him to get better. Mm-hmm. I hope that makes sense.
It does. And just to elaborate a bit on that, Fred used to tell us, Professor Fred used to say, one of the things that he does when he rolls with a student is he'll be used to letting that student get to a certain point.
Right.
And then, all of a sudden, maybe I can't let him get to that certain point.
That's
now.
right. That's nice way to evaluate.
Right? This is one way that he evaluates.
100%.
And I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
And it also, at the same time, it lets the student feel like, there's a little bit of progress, and they feel better about themselves, and they feel like they're actually getting better, right?
And what's cool is that he actually tells you, I can no longer go there with you.
That's right.
Yeah. That's
right.
That's his wording.
Yeah. I can no longer go there with you because you figured it out.
Yeah.
So now I have to do something different to challenge you even more, so that way you'll evolve.
Look, the best example, because there's such a skill. I wish I could teach like that, but when I roll with Cascao, right? So I try something. I fail. Then he gives me a little tip. I do it. It's working. I'm getting somewhat success. He's letting me play here. Like I'm not in control of anything. So
he's making a sandwich.
That's
on the
right.
side.
That's right. Exactly. So,
drinking an espresso.
That's right. He's texting his Anna. Anyway, so I'm going like this, and then I apply what he showed me. I get a little further in my pass. So then he blocks me at the next level. Right? So I make it one step further in the pass. I'm able to switch and do what I'm supposed to do. He lets me go in, and then I go a little further. I fail. He gives me another tip. This will happen over the course of 3 months. And then he lets me get to that point. I apply the tip, it works, but then I have another hurdle to overcome.
He's waiting for you there.
Yeah, but it's fine. But then I get jammed there. Then he helps me with that one. So suddenly I went from, being stopped after one step, now making 3 steps into I'm able to, but this, when you have that much skill discrepancy with you're able, I wish I could go as far as he. I try to copy that to a certain extent, but like I said, I'm more limited than he is. But that's a great way to teach.
But at least they guide you. You
that's
know what I mean?
right.
Like they're telling you where to go. Like even if you're getting somewhere, they'll say, okay, well, you're getting here now, so I want you to go here, And what's great is that even in a school with, like 300 students, 400 students, that the instructors are still taking the time to make it a very individualistic situation to say, this is where you're at, and I'd like you to be here, so you should do X, Y, Z, and I'll keep an eye on you and make sure that you're working.
How can you do that if you don't roll?
That's right.
Yeah.
You can't. I'm sorry to say, but how can you do that if you don't roll? You just, okay, do this, do that. Like, you know, it's like, I don't know. I just don't see it. Myself, I don't know how I do it without that,
Right.
you know.
To stripe or not to stripe? That is the question. It's a little ridiculous, but when I did a little research on it, it seems like schools are pulling away from the stripes a lot more. So let's just
I
put
say
it.
do it for kids, not for adults.
I was just going to say
Right.
that.
Right.
Kids, you know, helps
Encouragement,
them, sure,
right?
encourages them along, whatever.
They
to
said
progress.
BJJ is not like some other karate place there I have in mind where you kids 7 years old as a third degree black belt. We don't work like that. And this is what, I mean, listen, of all the belts I've had in sports, fighting sport, I got rid of them. I had my blue belt in jiu-jitsu was more important than some other belts, much higher belts I had in other martial arts. Why? Because we earned those damn things, right? So I don't care about any other belts. I've had any other award. My Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt for me, that's all I care about. I kept all my belt jiu-jitsu. I'm going to make a nice, cool little thing with that. But anyway, so I kept all my belts and I wrote the date I got it on it.
Oh, that's a good
So
idea. I never
in
thought of
jiu-jitsu, it takes years. So you're going to get your blue belt after a year or two. For me, it's a matter of hours, not years. You spend, a guy who trains a year trains 25 hours a week is not the same as a guy who trains 3 years at 3 hours a week.
Yeah, and you find those on the forums all the time. I was
Right.
looking at those today. People saying, asking questions. So is it normal that a student in my academy got his blue belt after 1.5 years? But no one talks about the amount of hours that you put on the mat, right?
I showed you my log, right?
I saw the log.
That's right. So
It's a little crazy.
That's right. So I just kept between purple and brown belt. I kept a log
Yeah.
every workout, and I
It's
calculated
crazy.
the hour. I got
You sent it to me.
I got 900 hours.
Wow.
So maybe it was 2 years only. But I got 900 hours of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But anyway, like I was saying, but for us adults is different. But for the kids to get a belt, instead of the stripes become important to them, they get their first white stripe on a white belt, and you see their
Their eyes light up.
That's right. So I mean, it's like, we're adults, and you know what? It's like,
Well, the kids sometimes, I'm sure all the parents will tell you this. They want to quit like all the time. Or they don't want to go that day, and it turns like almost every time. But then they get there, and then they're having fun, and they're glad they went, right?
That's the exact same thing with Emmy. My daughter.
Yeah.
She seems so not amused, just indifferent.
Yeah.
It's like if I go, I don't.
Yeah.
But once she's there, like she's good to go.
How old is she? She's like 11.
She's 10,
She's
turning 11.
So I think she's still in that age where I think when they get a little older, like they're still getting into their young teens, right? 13, 14, it becomes a little either more serious, or they might kind of maybe even
Drop
shy away
off,
from it,
yeah.
right? But I think at that age, from like 5 to 10 or 11, it's back and forth all the time. Julio sometimes he's like, I pick him up from school, he's like, do we have to go to jiu-jitsu today? I'm like, yep, we have to go. Okay, and then we go get his thing, whatever, and then we start talking about it in the car, put a little kids podcast on in the car, what's our regular routine, so the routine starts kicking in, he starts looking forward to it, we get there, he's changing, he's having fun with the boys in the change room, and then bang on the mat, and he's doing the warm-ups, and he's good, and he's glad he's there.
Yeah.
right.
So, but I think it's when you're not there, even me, oh my God, I'm talking about kids, you know how many days I'm driving to jiu-jitsu, fucking wrist is hurting me, my leg is hurting, oh my God, I'm going to turn around, no, I can't turn
And
around.
he's so go.
kids are savages.
Phil's gonna make
They'll
fun of
hurt
me.
you.
Phil's gonna make fun of me. So I go Thursday night, whatever, and I get there, and I'm happy I'm on the mat now.
Yeah.
I'm on the mat. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad.
Listen, a bad day on the mat beats a good day at
fuck,
the office
work,
anytime.
any day.
Yeah. But I have to say that when it comes to Emmy, my daughter, there is no option to not go to jiu-jitsu.
There is no option.
Yeah, so
to not go. Right?
yeah, so
same here.
currently, so I don't know at what age that's gonna stop, but for now, at least until she gets to high school and we make sure that everything is good, she has to go to jiu-jitsu at least once a week. There's no option behind
Right.
it. So, but what's great about her, she doesn't complain, she doesn't nag, she doesn't whine. Like she's just not that type of kid. No matter what I tell her to do,
Yeah.
if I told her to climb on top of the roof and jump off of it, she would do it. She will do whatever daddy says. So I say you have to go to jiu-jitsu at least once a week, so she does it. So there's no question there. So it's not like other kids where it's like, oh, I don't want to go or this and
Yeah.
that. So it's a little different. But but it's not an option. You know, there's a lot of parents that are like, oh, well, the kid's complaining. I'm gonna have one of those days. You know what I mean? If he's just gonna complain, so you know what? We'll skip today.
I like when he complains. When he complains, he doesn't want to go. I'm like, no,
You go even more?
You're going. And his deal is he has to go twice a week. He has to go either.
Okay.
If he goes Tuesday, Thursday, he doesn't have to go Saturday morning. If he skips one of the days in the week, he has to go Saturday morning. So this is usually, but lately it's been more Tuesday, Thursdays because he doesn't like to wake up.
Stripes are, I was telling the kids, I said, you know what, wow, stripe, get a stripe. I got to wait 3 years to get a stripe, you know?
Yeah. And I think that's where I say that Emmy's indifferent, is that we don't have conversations about striping. She went through the ringer in karate, but never did she ask, when am I getting my next belt? When's the next color? Maybe because I was the one teaching her, but in jiu-jitsu, she doesn't even ask about the stripe. It's just, I know that she says to herself, I know I have to go to jiu-jitsu. I have to do the best that I can because Dad's expecting that of me. Yeah. He's looking at me in the TV or he's staring at the doorway. So, like, I have to do. And, like, we'll drill at home. So we have mats, like, right around the corner here from this room. So we'll go in the basement. And she loves pulling guard. She says,
she's very good at it.
I love sitting on my bum. She has long legs. She's a swimmer. So she's very square. She has a very muscular upper body. Yeah. So for her, pulling guard, she loves it. I think she was said, actually, last week that you called her octopus something or
Dr.
whatever.
Octopus.
Dr. Octopus. Yeah.
She liked it right up until I showed her a picture of Dr. Octopus.
There you go. But those little things make a big difference because she told me when she came back from jiu-jitsu, Professor Marc told me this. So then we had a big discussion about it. So I thought she was indifferent, but she came back and she was like, oh, Marc called me Dr. Octopus because XYZ. So maybe she's not that indifferent about jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. But, you know, look, you know,
it's
like
a podcast with kids one day.
Yeah,
I thought about it, but I was
a short one.
Yeah, I was about to say no one will listen to it.
I don't know, but, you know, it's like, look.
It might be humorous. You know, if I get a bunch of 6-year-olds in here.
Yeah. Most people at our school anyway, sometimes it's a fight to get them promoted. Like, they don't want to go. Like I like the feeling I got when I got my black belt was not joy, was terror. I'm like this, and I'm standing in front. You see all these guys, Cascal, all these guys, and I go, I'm a fucking black belt. I said, oh my God. I said, no, I have to roll like a black belt, but you know, it's like it was terrifying. All my belts. I said, you sure? I used to tell Fred like. Don't send no rush, you know. I can wait. It's all good, you know. So there's stripes. I mean, give me a stripe, not a stripe. But
actually, when you think about it, you know, in academies that don't offer any stripes, the only time you're ever going to see a stripe is when you get to black belt.
That's right.
It's crazy.
I don't even want. Fred says you can put, you know, those.
For like instructor or something, like the 2 white bands.
I'm not touching that. I'm not putting anything on my bed. I'll leave it on there.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's like so I mean, it's like, you know, it's like some you know what? Some people like the merit badge, like is important. You know, like that type of recognition. But I think, I mean, I'll speak for our Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu culture at BTT. I think I'm not commenting on the other school because I'm not there. But we don't seem to care about bullshit. Like we don't, this nitty gritty. I think if anybody would make a fuss about getting a stripe, he'd get torn apart in the dressing room. Yep. Like the jokes would come, the one-liners, the stuff.
Yeah. Because we honestly just go to class and we do jiu-jitsu and then we leave.
I think it's a lot of times too. A lot of these, you know, these teens and young adults, you know, between 15 and 20 that come in jiu-jitsu and they've never done any martial arts before, they don't even realize that there are stripes.
That's right.
They're just like, oh, this is my white belt. I'm a new guy. I know white is new, and I know the next color is
right.
Someone who doesn't know would have no idea unless they saw someone from another school or went to compete and they're like, well, why am I competing against a guy who has like a bunch of stripes on his belt type of thing? Yeah, it's true.
I don't know. It's like
no stripes.
No, I don't think so. Not for adults anyway.
For kids.
Yes, for kids.
Yes, for kids. No, for adults. Okay, good. Yeah. So what do we do to bring the jiu-jitsu community together? Do you have any magical solutions apart from the open mat? I think the open mat is a genius idea, and people should take that outside of Montreal and run with it. If you're in a city that, you know, everybody's secluded, no one talks to each other unless you're at competitions and maybe some Facebook stuff, go ahead and maybe start organizing an open mat. And I keep thinking about it. I'm like I said, I had this discussion with Ariane Dang, and she would be
Johnny
down.
does it at Oma.
Oh yeah.
Johnny, like when Cascal was getting ready for his invitational there, the King of the Mat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You had people go there on Friday. Yeah. All the killers in Montreal went there to roll with Cascal. It was happening at Johnny's place. I mean, there was no fist fight, ugly shit.
Yeah.
Nothing happened
Yeah.
besides guys having fun and training hard.
We should call it like the no politic open mat or something. Like, I don't know.
It's like, first of all, it's like I said, I think it's the long-term solution to bring the community together is making sure that we create the right culture with our kids program. All school does that. I mean, so I think I'll speak for ourselves once again, because I don't know the other kids program I run, but I think we're doing a great job with that. The kids at tournament they're playing together after matches and stuff. Like, even like they're talking to kids from other schools and stuff. And I think this has to be encouraged. That's for the long run. Short run, I mean, it's like, is somebody will have to run the experience.
Do you think, Brian, that there's hope for the adults to get everybody together and to do something?
For the open mat idea?
Not just open mat, just something to kind of bring everyone closer together, to say, yeah, I train with, like, you go to class, you row with the same people pretty much all the time, and you start, yes, you're learning, but you're getting to know people's styles and this and that. Would you go to somebody else's school to row with different kinds of people?
Yes. And now, speaking as a 45-year-old, parent with a job and kids and house, whatever, like some of us do, I don't think there's a lot of us at this age that are like the 25-year-olds that are really serious about it.
Be nice to have an old farts open mat.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great. Old fart open mat? Sure.
It's not a bad idea.
Purple belt and lower.
That's right.
Marc's not invited.
No, but
Thanks for the idea.
So personally, I would definitely, I'd want to jump into that, because I want to just be involved with, everybody in that world, and, bring John and whatever. And for sure I'd go for that. Would, other parents my age that are doing jiu-jitsu, would they want to? Maybe. But
Claudio brought once a big black belt from Gracie Baja. Tiago was his name.
Yeah.
A super nice guy. He came for
Alves? Tiago?
I don't remember his last name. But anyway, big guy, like a black belt, like tall, big.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like he came to our open mat because he used to work in the doorman with Claudio or something like that. And I mean, he came to our Sunday open mat. He was a super nice guy. He had a blast. There was no bullshit. And I think it was completely doable. We've had some other people come occasionally, like even
Brianna.
Yeah, Lucas came. Yeah,
Lucas came to open mat.
Holidays.
Yeah. So he came on Christmas Day Christmas Day roll.
And he murked me.
Did he?
Murked me hard. Yeah. His level of jiu-jitsu,
he's really good.
Someone please give this man a black belt. Enough. Professor Glenn, give him a black belt. It's done. It's done now. There's no more to prove. He came and it's just like he's really at another level. And you could tell a guy who, you take a brown belt who competes on a regular basis and a brown belt who doesn't, it's
day and night.
It's day and night.
Don't forget, at the Pans that the brown belts, Las Vegas had odds on them. So the level, I was watching those matches. Cool. I mean, listen, I'll admit it. These brown belts I saw at the Pans or a big tournament. I think it was the Worlds. I was looking at the caliber of those brown belts. They would hand me my ass in a New York minute. Like they were that good. But yeah, like I said, we've had at the old place at the tennis club there. We had some people come. Like Charles came once from West Island Jiu-Jitsu, and a great guy, great butterfly guard and stuff like that. And I mean, myself, I never had an issue with anybody who came. It never turned ugly. So I don't see, if we're all adults and understand that's to everybody's benefit. And one thing's for sure, if you're afraid as a teacher, if you're insecure, you think you're going to lose a student because he goes to an open mat somewhere else, you're damn insecure about your program. I think at BTT we have a fabulous program. And of course I think we're the best, but that's okay. I'm sure other people think they're the best too, and good for them too for thinking that.
But the goal of it is not to convert people to go somewhere else.
No.
It's just to share knowledge and to create a bigger network outside of the little bucket of a school that we're in.
Don't forget, you go to Brazil. I mean, some of these schools. I mean, these guys fought in the street. Like like the rivalry were savage. I mean, I'm talking like let's imagine. You go to Fairview with your BTT hoodie and three guys jump you with a whatever hoodie of another school. So a lot of people, instructors, are still grew up in that type of environment. Look at what happened with Ralph Gracie and that sucker
Kurt
punch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no. Okay.
Sorry, my memory's not that great, but I mean, it's like, when I heard this, I said, what the fuck is that? Like, it's like, dude, you're not in that big luta libre rivalry of the 70s or something.
Yeah.
Like, this has no place, this type of horse shit,
Did you watch, did you see that Nicky Ryan qualified the ADCC?
He
qualified?
destroyed
He
everybody.
murked everyone. He
right.
subbed everyone.
How old is that kid now?
Oh my God.
17 or
18,
something?
17.
Oh yeah. He's not even of age yet, I don't think.
Yeah.
It's
But
crazy.
He beat in one of those tournaments, Imanari. He subbed Gio Martinez.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I think at the same age, he's much better than his brother was.
Yeah. You think so? Yeah.
Oh yeah, but at the same age, now, but
It's crazy, but if you think about it, you do jiu-jitsu every day, nonstop,
Yeah.
7 days a week. If you don't
it's hours.
get really good at what you're doing, I mean, there's an issue.
And I don't
that's
know
all
for sure,
you're
but he
doing.
probably started younger than his brother did too. Then.
Yeah, well,
Oh, he
that's
must, yeah.
this is what's
Following
happening.
his
This is what happening in the game of jiu-jitsu is that now kids. I mean, we have a kid like in our program. Matthew plays a spider lasso combo. I can't even do this shit. Like it's, he's like 9 years old. So these kids, man, when they're 16,
They're gonna be killers. Yeah.
oh my God, it's unbelievable. Like they're starting like nobody. Even in Brazil, I mean, how old was Fabio when he started? And he wasn't 4 years old. He was,
Right.
So there's a next generation coming up, and the future of the sport is to make sure we give those kids the right values and the right, tool set so that that community as a whole can grow. Because I don't see. I mean, for me, it's not far fetched that this becomes an Olympic sport.
Oh, that would be great.
It's close. Hey, what just became an Olympic sport? Something just became an Olympic sport.
It's one of the striking arts, I think.
Yes.
I don't know which one. I don't know. But
Yeah,
I know what you're
yeah.
talking about. I heard it.
Muay Thai.
Really?
Is it Muay Thai? I think Muay Thai just became an Olympic sport in 2021 or something.
Oh.
But this
I
is
just saw it on
accomplished
Facebook.
through serious lobbying. I don't know.
Yeah.
What I
for
mean,
sure.
you want to talk about politics, man? I mean, I don't know if it's on your list of topics there, but I have a beef with some organization sometime because if you're going to charge money to become a member, that means you're offering a service. Give something in return. I think the IBJJF sometimes stretches their.
Because there's a new membership fee.
They're millionaires already, that group,
Their
It's-
tournaments are expensive enough. It's over $100
That's
American dollars.
That's
so it's,
right.
with the exchange rate, it's costing me a lot. Plus, it's not here, so I have to travel. I have to book a hotel. I got to either fly or drive.
So I don't care paying a $50 membership, but give me something in return.
Like a T-shirt? You want a T-shirt?
No, but I mean, it's like, if I want an IBJJF certification plaque or whatever,
Right.
apparently, so I've heard, and you could I could make a mistake here.
Couple
so
$100 or something?
$600, and I got to go take the referee certification. Like,
Cascal did the referee certification, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
Recently.
yeah. So, but I mean, to get my little $600, like, so I'm gonna have Fabio photocopy and print me something. I'll put it on my wall, and it'll mean more to me. Like, it's like I don't know about that. If I wanted to give him
But the
$600,
certification is just for reffing, to be a ref?
no,
Or to
because it's
compete?
part to be recognized as a black belt, white.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, something like that. So,
You have to
I'm-
go take a course, yeah.
Yeah, which I don't mind taking the referee's course, but I mean, I have to travel to go get that thing, pay $600. I guess sell that one to my wife. I don't know enough jiu-jitsu to survive after announcing that to her. But
Because competitions are expensive enough, and that's a whole other topic.
Hey.
Talking about prices and traveling and this and that. It's a little specific to us because we have to travel to go compete now. We can't do it locally. But
That being said, there's a guy in, I want to say Vermont. It's a kids-only tournament called the Black Fly Tournament. Have you heard of this?
oh,
Yeah, look it
where
up.
did I hear about that?
Last year he had like 120 kids. Okay, so he's growing. Every year he's getting bigger and bigger. And I was emailing and asking about the fees and stuff, and what it costs, and is that American dollar? And he's like, listen, he goes, for all the Montreal guys. He posted something after I spoke to him. He says, we're going to give it to you at
Like
par.
at par, nice.
Yeah. And
Nice.
he goes, pay me when you get here. Register in advance. Pay me when you get here. So he's really cool about it. And I just ended up forgetting and backed out at the last minute. So I'll forget it. I'll wait till next year.
Find out the
You know?
dates. Yeah.
It's in May, April or May. He's starting already to.
Okay.
I'll
That's
tell
pretty
you
cool.
guys or send you guys a link or something for
Right,
black
right,
flies.
right.
So his medals are like these little black flies.
Is he on Smooth Comp? Do you know if you register on
I'm
Smooth
not sure
Comp? You
this
know?
year. The other years, no. He was like, you pay when
Okay.
you get here kind of thing.
Okay.
You know? So, but I don't think he's on Smooth Comp now. I think Smooth Comp is kind of new now. I think that like people
Yeah,
are
but
starting to get involved now.
Really involved. Yeah, if
Yeah.
you want to see what's going on competition-wise, where it doesn't matter where you are in the world, go on Smooth Comp,
Yeah.
and you have the directory of BJJ
Nice.
of competition that's coming up, and that's how we keep in touch with. Okay, well, Boston's happening, or
Yeah.
New York is
Right.
happening, or this is
Yeah,
happening.
you scroll down the list and you can see
You
all
just
the
go,
different ones
yeah.
in a chronological order or whatever, and chronological
Yeah.
order, and you just click on it.
And one cool thing about Grappling Industries is that they give free registrations to brown
Browns and blacks.
belts. Yeah, it's
That's
just
new though this year too.
yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
But they're doing these little
Why do you think
initiatives
that is though?
because their divisions probably aren't full for brown and
I was gonna
blacks.
say maybe
Right.
they're not busy enough.
They're not
or-
busy enough in those divisions.
Right.
And it's a way to encourage people to come out. Because the thing is, if you have brown and black belts coming out to compete, they will encourage the purples,
Younger
blues,
belts
and
to
whites
come
to come and compete.
For sure.
Like we could take Will Paget as an example, who was also on a podcast. I'm not too sure if it was episode 2 or 3, but if you guys want to check it out,
I think it was
pretty
two.
good.
I heard it.
Yeah,
I think it was
I
two.
listened
But
to it.
Will is starting to compete a lot now at a brown belt level,
Yeah.
and it's encouraging other people who look up to him to go and compete also. Like the last
Right.
tournament at SAU, we saw more adults go out and compete, and I put a big weight on Will for that one. It's him
Right.
posting in our group saying, hey, I'm going to compete, here's my registration. People are like, well, Will's doing it, like I guess someone will be there, so I'll go too.
Things
type of
trickle
thing.
down.
Yeah,
Sure.
so if you could register to tournaments as a brown or black belt for free,
Yeah.
I mean, you're doing something good. I mean, the Grappling Industries is doing something good for jiu-jitsu, but also those people who get to compete will encourage other people to go with them, right?
Yeah.
And maybe some other tournament organizer, Martin, might jump on the bandwagon and say, hey, if this guy's doing it, maybe I should do the same thing.
Martin did it last tournament. No,
He
the
did?
SAU, the
SAU?
black belts were free, I think.
He usually does that.
Really?
He usually does something
Sorry,
for black
Martin.
belts. Yeah, you're such a hater.
Talking out of my ass here.
Now, if you want to talk to Martin, talking about like weird weight classes and stuff like that,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That's a
Yeah, a
different
lot of people have
story.
something
Yeah,
to
yeah. But there has to be more guys like Martin out there
Oh, yeah.
here in Montreal. I know. So it's an investment to start tournaments. You got to put in a lot of your own money. You got to buy mats. You got to get a venue, and you have to rely on
Transport them.
Anybody who's put a tournament together.
Yeah.
I mean, we go in and we bitch about little things. Yeah, my weigh-in.
The weigh-in sucked. The weight classes sucked. The ref sucks.
You try putting one of these fucking
Nothing
things
was on
together.
time. That's the main one, right? Nothing's
Yeah, but
ever
they're
on
always
time.
delayed.
Exactly. But
So-
people who don't know, right? Like they're like, hey, I was supposed to compete at 10, and it's like 2:00 in the afternoon. I haven't competed.
Yeah, that's like
but
the first
the
time
thing is,
white belt.
yeah.
I got in
I'm supposed to
Martin's
go at
face.
2 and it's 2:15.
I got
What's
in
going
Martin's
on?
face at the tournament. I got in his face and I approached him like this. Hey, Martin. I said, thank you, bud.
Great
Because
job.
we got a tournament in Hawkesbury.
No one
I'll
else is
take
doing it.
I
That's
told
right.
them, fucking
I
800
said,
people or whatever.
you know,
The
it's
only
like
other
almost
person,
1,000 competitors.
the
or
only
something.
other person from Martin to doing it is Grappling Industries. Is
Right.
David Aguzzi. Crap, he's gonna get mad at me. Actually, when I competed in Boston, I was doing my 26-minute sub only, no time limit, no ref
yeah.
decision, and he's sitting at the table like right in front of me, type of thing. And he's the one guy who's doing things to promote, because he's from Montreal. He's doing he'll post an event, Quebec, New York border, or Quebec, New Hampshire border. So he'll do things to encourage people from Quebec to come out, and he'll place venues close to us to encourage us to come out. And I'd say his venues do really, really well. Lots of big
Right.
turnout. The rule set is really good. You'd actually knee reap. You know what I mean? You could do little things like that in the gi, which you can't find in IBJJF. No one is getting hauled off by paramedics or anything like that. He's doing no-gi stuff where at advanced you could do heel hooks, but even at intermediate, so if you're doing blue or purple belt, you can do knee bars or toe holds, which is really cool because IBJJF you can't do it. So he's doing things a little differently and stimulating the jiu-jitsu community by saying, hey, I'm outside of the box and I'm going to feed you some candies. And his registration makes sense too. The prices are super cheap and they're good. You should totally sponsor me, David Aguzzi. You should contact me. Definitely. He actually just signed a deal with the GCP, the Grappling Central podcast, which is another good podcast for those that want to follow them too. I'm better, but you should also go follow them too. They're also good. But
this is the BTT of podcasts.
Yeah, this is the BTT of podcasts. But you should there should be more people like Martin and people like David hosting more tournaments in Canada, because you don't see that many. I know there's one in the East Coast that's coming up shortly, but I mean, we have to go to New Brunswick. I mean, everyone has to drive out there in the middle of winter and stuff like that. I mean, no one's going to do that. It just doesn't make any sense. All right, guys, any final notes? It's been an hour and 34 minutes. Any final notes about...
Do we have the longest recorded podcast so far?
This is the longest recorded podcast that I will not be editing because I choose not to listen to an hour and 34 minutes.
Final word, kill them all, let God sort them out. No, hang on, it's about politics.
Yeah. So anything about final words, Marc, on Jiu-Jitsu Politics?
I just hope, like I said, I mean, we might bitch about Jiu-Jitsu Politics, but I think we're better than a lot of martial arts I've seen, politics-wise. Hopefully we'll keep evolving in a positive direction and cooperate. And as a whole, I think we can get a lot done. And we can get a lot done without sacrificing our identity as clubs, sacrificing our affiliation or anything like that. I think it's possible to come together and push everybody up. And it's to everybody's benefit. The more quality participants are in our region, in all neck of the wood, everybody wins from that. It forces you. It would force our club to stay cutting edge, force the next club to stay. This is how the whole thing grows as a whole. But we're gonna stay mature, act like adults, and not fall into those traps that, like in the past, like I've seen. The other arts I've done, which everything went to tits because nobody,
It's boobies.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry. Breast.
All right.
So, don't be club fluid.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be club fluid. Oh my God. Well, politics, no place for that on the mat.
No place for that on the mat.
Not at all. Just like Marc said, build the sport up, the whole community, and everybody has fun.
We need hats. Making jiu-jitsu great again.
Fuck.
I am the king of hats and t-shirts. You know what's going to happen.
I'll buy the first one.
It's going to happen. Beautiful. Thanks, guys, for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it. We will definitely do another episode of this down the line at some point. Marc Ste-Marie, you guys can go check him out on Facebook. He hopefully you're not too sensitive because he posts a lot of interesting things. And Bryan Viera, who never posts anything except when he gets a haircut done. When he goes to get a haircut, he will post something on Facebook.
Can I mention him?
Yeah, totally.
Justin Styles out of Woodroy right now, but soon opening his new location.
Listen, Brian just got a sponsorship, eh? It's Cialis.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to say Cialis, and it's going to say under hard rolling.
All right, guys. Thanks for being on.
Thanks, Ray.
Take care.
Thank you, bud.
You've been listening to Let's Talk Jiu-Jitsu with Raymond Terrence. Go follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page. Turn on notifications and press that like button. Thanks for listening. We'll see you on the mats.